Do you remember the feeling of holding a photograph that mattered? A thin slice of time, fragile yet potent, warm in your hands. This is a story about how technology is helping us remember who we are. Arthur remembered. He remembered the weight of the old shoeboxes, stacked high in the closet. Dust motes danced in the slivers of light that pierced the gloom when he opened them. Inside, a universe unfolded, moments captured on glossy paper, faces smiling back from years, decades past. Each photograph was a small, precious anchor, tethering him to a tangible history. There was the faded image of his mother on a picnic blanket, her laughter almost audible in the crinkle of the paper. There was his grandfather, stern yet kind-eyed, standing beside a car Arthur only knew from stories. Holding these pictures, tracing the contours of beloved faces with a fingertip, was an act of communion. It wasn't just seeing the past, it was feeling it, breathing it in through the faint, unique scent of aged paper and emulsion. These were not mere images, they were artifacts of love, loss, and lives fully lived. They were the family album, yes, but they were also the family soul. But time, as it always does, marched on, and the way we held onto our past changed. The clicks and whirs of cameras gave way to the silent tap of a smartphone screen. Shoeboxes were replaced by folders, then clouds. At first, it felt like liberation. No more rolls of film to develop, no more limited exposures. You could snap 1,000 pictures in an hour if you wished. The volume of captured moments exploded, democratizing memory in ways previously unimaginable. Every meal, every pet antic, every fleeting glance could be recorded. The potential to preserve everything felt limitless. Yet, something vital was lost in translation. The tactile connection vanished. The ritual of gathering around a physical album became less common. And the sheer quantity of digital images became overwhelming. They lived on phones that were upgraded and discarded, on hard drives that inevitably crashed, on cloud services whose passwords were forgotten. Photos became data points in an ever-expanding digital universe, lost in the noise. The organizing principle wasn't narrative or emotional, it was often just a chronological jumble, if that. Memories weren't curated, they were accumulated. Faces weren't identified, they were just pixels. The context, the story behind the image, often disappeared the moment the picture was taken, unless someone immediately added a caption, a rare discipline. Arthur, like many of his generation, navigated this shift with a mix of wonder and confusion. He had embraced digital cameras, then smartphones. His children and grandchildren sent him pictures constantly. His own collection, once neatly boxed, was now scattered across old laptops, external drives, and various online accounts he barely remembered signing up for. The ease of capturing moments had inadvertently led to a new kind of forgetting, not of the event itself, perhaps, but of the existence of the picture, or the ability to easily find it again. He knew there were thousands of images out there, documenting precious moments with his late wife, his children's milestones, simple family dinners. But they were locked away, buried deep within the digital strata, inaccessible and fragmented. He felt a quiet ache, a sense of disconnection from a past he knew was recorded but could no longer touch or easily see. One particular absence haunted him. It was an image from his son Daniel's childhood, a specific birthday party. Daniel had been 7, captivated by a magic trick performed by a hired clown. It wasn't just any photo, it captured a rare moment of pure, uninhibited joy on Daniel's face, a look that had become less frequent as the years wore on. Arthur remembered taking the picture, a fleeting click amidst the chaos of balloons and excited children. He remembered seeing the developed print once, maybe twice, before it disappeared. He had searched for it repeatedly in the digital hoard, using keywords like Daniel, birthday, 7, clown, nothing. It was as if the memory, while vivid in his mind, had no corresponding visual anchor in the digital realm. It was lost somewhere, perhaps on a corrupt memory card or deleted in a misguided attempt to free up storage space years ago. The feeling was like knowing a treasure existed but having no map to find it, the digital ocean vast and indifferent. His granddaughter, Lily, a bright, tech-savvy university student, noticed his quiet frustration. She was helping him sort through some old files on a dusty external hard drive he'd unearthed from a drawer. It was a digital graveyard of old documents and thousands of unorganized photos. They stumbled upon a folder simply titled Miscellaneous inside, among blurry vacation photos and redundant shots, were some incredibly old digital images, taken in the late 90s or early 2000s, low resolution and heavily pixelated by today's standards. Many were corrupted or only partially viewable. But one image, faint and distorted, caught Arthur's eye. It was a cluttered background, a splash of bright color that might have been a balloon, and a faint, smudged shape that could possibly be a child's face. His heart gave a small, involuntary lurch. Could this be it? "Grandpa, these are ancient," Lily said, zooming in on one of the pixelated images. "They're barely recognizable." Arthur pointed a trembling finger at the smudged shape. That might be Daniel. At his 7th birthday party. He was so happy that day. The image was incredibly poor quality, noise covering the details, colors muted and inaccurate. It felt like looking through frosted glass at a ghost. Lily studied the image on the screen. "Wow, it's really faded. And look at the pixelation. You can barely tell what's happening." She paused, a thoughtful look on her face. "You know, they have these new AI tools now. For restoring old photos. Even really damaged ones. My friend Maya is studying it." Arthur had heard the term AI, mostly in the news, associated with complex, futuristic concepts he didn't fully grasp. He thought of it as something for self-driving cars or robots. The idea that it could reach into the past and mend a broken picture felt like science fiction. Artificial intelligence. 4 photos. How can a computer guess what a lost face looked like? Lily smiled. "It doesn't exactly guess, Grandpa. It learns from millions of other photos, what faces look like, what colors should be, how textures appear. It can fill in the missing information, sharpen details, fix colors. It's like a digital restorer, but incredibly powerful and fast." She explained that Maya was working with a nonprofit project that used AI to help families restore lost historical photos, particularly those damaged by time or natural disasters. Maybe she could take a look. No promises, but it's worth a try. A flicker of hope ignited in Arthur. It felt fragile, almost presumptuous, to hope that something so lost could be found again, especially through something as impersonal as an algorithm. But the ache of that missing memory was persistent. He agreed. He carefully copied the old, corrupted file onto a USB stick for Lily to take to Maya. Weeks passed. Arthur tried not to dwell on it too much, managing his expectations. It was just one file, after all, from a very old, damaged source. He busied himself with other things, but the thought of that smudged image, and the slim possibility of seeing Daniel's joyful face clearly again, lingered in the back of his mind. Then, one afternoon, Lily called. Her voice was bright, brimming with excitement. "Grandpa. Are you sitting down?" "Lily. What is it? Is something wrong?" Arthur felt a nervous flutter. "No, Grandpa, nothing's wrong. It's the photo. Maya worked on it." There was a pause, and Arthur held his breath. "She sent me the restored version. Grandpa, you have to see this." Lily came over that evening, her laptop in hand. She sat beside Arthur on the sofa, and together they looked at the screen. The original, smudged, pixelated image was displayed next to a new one. Arthur stared, his eyes widening. The change was astonishing. The noise was gone. The colors were vibrant and true, the primary colors of balloons, the bright red of the clown's nose. And there, in the center, was Daniel. Not a smudge, but Daniel at 7, his eyes wide with wonder, a huge, gap-toothed grin spreading across his face. He was looking up at something out of frame, presumably the clown, completely lost in the magic. The details were crisp, the slight messiness of his hair, the sprinkle of freckles on his nose, the specific crinkle of his eyes when he laughed. It was unmistakably him, vibrantly, wonderfully present. Arthur reached out a hand, not to touch the screen, but as if to cradle the image itself. A wave of emotion washed over him, joy, relief, and a profound sense of wonder. It was like seeing a ghost solidify, a beloved memory pulled from the brink of oblivion. He hadn't just recovered a photo, he had recovered a feeling, a moment that had been locked away. He could almost hear Daniel's high-pitched giggle, feel the energy of the room. It's him," Arthur whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "It's really him." Lily nodded, her own eyes glistening. The AI analyzed the surrounding pixels, used millions of examples of children's faces, birthday party settings. It understood what was meant to be there, even though the data was corrupted. It didn't invent, it restored the signal from the noise. It felt miraculous. This wasn't just sharpening an image, it was an act of digital archaeology, unearthing a precious artifact from the ruins of decaying data. The technology, which had felt so cold and abstract, was suddenly deeply, profoundly human. It had served memory, resurrected a lost piece of Arthur's heart. This experience was just the beginning. Inspired by the success, Lily and Arthur began exploring the digital chaos of Arthur's other drives and clouds. They used AI-powered tools not just for restoration, but for organization. The AI could recognize faces, even across years and different lighting conditions, helping to tag people automatically. It could identify landmarks, cluster photos by event or date, and even suggest connections between images based on visual similarity. What had been a chaotic, overwhelming mess began to take shape. Timelines emerged, showing the flow of years. Albums organized themselves around people and significant life events. The sheer volume of photos, once a barrier, now became a rich, navigable archive. Arthur found images he didn't remember taking, moments that had slipped his conscious mind but were preserved nonetheless. A candid shot of his wife laughing while gardening. A picture of his children building a snow fort, their faces red with cold and excitement. Simple, everyday moments that, with the passage of time, had become priceless. Seeing them brought a quiet warmth, a sense of gratitude for the life he had lived and the love he had shared. He began sharing these rediscovered memories with his family. He showed Daniel the restored birthday photo, and his son was deeply moved, seeing that moment of pure childhood wonder captured so vividly. He created digital albums for his grandchildren, filled with pictures of their parents and grandparents when they were young. It was a way of passing down history, not just through stories, but through vibrant visual proof. The technology wasn't replacing his role as the family elder, it was amplifying it, giving him new tools to connect generations. "Look," Arthur said to Lily one afternoon, showing her a series of restored photos of their family on a long-ago beach trip. "I barely remembered taking these." They were buried in a folder called Vacation 2008 Random, but the AI found all the pictures from that week, cleaned them up, and put them together. "It's like reliving it." Lily smiled. "It's creating a bridge, Grandpa. Between the past you lived and the present we share." The digital world felt like it was making us forget, losing things in the noise. Now, it feels like it's helping us remember, pulling the important signals back into focus. Arthur nodded, looking at the screen. The faces looked so clear, the ocean so blue. It was different from holding the old physical photos, yes. There wasn't the same scent of aged paper, the same tactile warmth. But the memory felt just as potent, if not more so, because the image was sharp, the details vibrant. The emotional weight was fully present. The evolution from analog memory, stored in physical albums and shoeboxes, to digital memory, vast and often chaotic, had presented a challenge. But now, AI was emerging as the bridge, a powerful force capable of rescuing these scattered fragments and weaving them back into a coherent, meaningful narrative. It wasn't just about fixing old photos, it was about fixing the broken connection to our past selves, our lost loved ones, and our shared histories. Imagine a future where this technology is even more seamless. Where AI doesn't just restore images, but helps reconstruct the atmosphere of a moment. Perhaps combining different photos and videos of the same event, identifying key sounds from old recordings, even using environmental data captured at the time to recreate a more immersive sensory experience. Stepping into a memory, feeling the warmth of a forgotten sun on your skin, hearing the specific cadence of a loved one's voice, seeing the subtle expressions on their face, these possibilities, while sounding futuristic, are built upon the foundations being laid today by AI restoration and organization. The goal isn't to replace reality or live in the past, but to make the past accessible, vivid, and emotionally resonant in new ways. Yet, the core value remains human. The technology is a tool. The meaning comes from us, the people in the pictures, the love shared, the lives lived. AI doesn't feel nostalgia or love, it processes data. But by restoring the visual cues, by making memories findable and viewable again, it facilitates our ability to feel, to connect, to remember. It fights against the relentless erosion of time and the fragility of storage mediums, both physical and digital. Arthur often sat with his tablet now, scrolling through the beautifully organized and restored photos. He could spend hours, not lost in confusion, but happily rediscovering moments, sharing them with whoever was near. The sadness of lost memories had been replaced by the quiet joy of rediscovery. The overwhelm of digital clutter had yielded to the peace of a navigable history. It's like having the shoeboxes, he mused to Lily one day, but the pictures don't fade, and they arrange themselves when you think about someone. Lily smiled. Exactly, Grandpa. The memory is still in your heart and mind, but the technology just helps you see it again, clearly, whenever you want. This story is a testament to that. It's about how innovation, when focused on human needs, can serve our deepest emotional requirements. AI, often portrayed as complex and potentially distant, is proving to be a powerful ally in the most human of endeavors, remembering. It's helping us gather the scattered pieces of our lives, restoring clarity to faded moments, and building bridges across the digital divide that threaten to separate us from our own histories. We may forget, or time may try to steal our past, but our memories, aided by technology, can still find their way back to us, vibrant and whole. Have you ever lost a photo that meant everything? Like this if you know the feeling. Let's go back to where this story really begins. The digital memory lane reminds us that while technology evolves, the heart's need to remember remains constant. We may forget, but our memories can still find their way back to us. If you've ever found a photo that changed your day, like this video and share your story. What's the first photograph you'd want AI to restore for you? Comment below.